The rebooted Tiny Toons cartoon, Tiny Toons Looniversity, just recently got more info revealed in the San Diego Comic-Con. So I decided now was the perfect time to review that one banned episode from the original Tiny Toons show, One Beer. Before we get into the review, please leave a like and comment if you like the video, and subscribe if you feel inclined. I would very much appreciate it. The episode starts off with a title card that heavily suggests the kind of story we are going to get. Something that amazes me is the fact that this cartoon was just able to blatantly get away with alcohol being the centerpiece for the plot. Usually in kid shows, alcohol is a taboo subject, and it is extremely hard to even acknowledge it in any way. Unless you're Clone Wars, but that show was practically for adults. The way this episode gets away with its front and center alcohol presence is because it was trying to spread a positive message to kids about the dangers of underage drinking. Although even the good intentions weren't enough to keep this episode from eventually being banned. Anyways, as the episode actually begins, Buster Bunny is looking for something to drink before deciding that he and his friends should drink the beer left in the refrigerator. Hampton and Plucky are both shocked and even comment on how this is unlike Buster, who responds with saying that he is just acting like this so they can teach the kids at home a lesson about not drinking beer. Buster and the gang take the beer to a park where there is randomly a British constable wielding a baton. The boys decide to crack open the cold one and each get drunk off of one sip. I still can't get over the fact that we get to see toddlers drinking alcohol on screen in a kid show. I don't think you understand how rare something like this is. Again, besides Star Wars The Clone Wars, but that show doesn't count, okay? Cartoon characters are never supposed to drink alcohol in front of kids, especially when the characters themselves are also children. So this was definitely a controversial episode. Really quick, what kind of beer has the name beer on it? Like, is that the name of the brand? Is that just like the name of the company that makes the beer? Okay. Anyways, right after their first sip, the boys slip into a weird burping trance where there's this bizarre montage of colors and things related to alcohol like gambling, bars, and money. They should have thrown woman in there too.
Oh, man, I haven't been on a trip like that since college.
Then we see the three boys approach the university while being clearly drunk. They are now dressed like stereotypical stinky drunk menaces as they hit on some girls leaving the school. In this one scene, Hampton looks crazy enough to commit a quintuple homicide for some reason, as his eyes are extra bloodshot. The girls are disgusted by the stench of the beer and want nothing to do with the drunks, as they hurry off.
Farfarama, they've been drinking!
He's drunk.
Afterwards, the boys stumble around town and talk about how everything feels weird, before Plucky spots a cop car and decides he wants to steal it. First of all, what kind of officers are stupid enough to leave their keys in the vehicle with the windows down? Those cops should be fired immediately. But secondly, why does Hampton have to look so deranged? His eyes literally remind me of that one freeze frame of Freddy Fazbear in the first FNAF game with the bloodshot eyes. Back to the review, Plucky starts the car and crashes into other cars before swerving all over the road. Buster asks him how it feels to be DWI, driving while intoxicated, and he responds by saying that he doesn't know how to drive. I can only imagine that when this episode first aired, there were so many angry parents calling the network to complain about how their kids were watching their favorite cartoon characters blatantly drinking and driving. I'll say it again. This was extremely taboo and uncommon for kids' media. So it's truly a wonder how this episode was not banned at one point in time. A wacky driving sequence ensues before coming to its climax as the boys drive up what seems to be an infinitely tall mountain. Not being able to properly read and react to a sign warning them of the road being out up ahead, Plucky drives them off a cliff, and they crash in a cemetery where they all die. Yes, this happens on a show meant for little children. The main characters, who are toddlers, get drunk on screen, drive under the influence, and then crash and die in a fiery car wreck. What were the people behind this show thinking when they broadcasted this episode? I know they were trying to convey the message that kids shouldn't drink, and especially not drink and drive, and the death at the end helped strengthen that message, but still, this was some pretty shocking and controversial subject matter for the show to tackle. In the end, we see the kids are fine, and it was just a part of the show, so that at least lightens up the dark nature of the scene. But if that shot of the car crashed in the cemetery would have been the last image of the episode, my goodness, would that have been haunting. Imagine if you were a 6-year-old and you just saw all your favorite cartoon characters die on screen in a crash, and then you see this image. Sheesh. I know I would have been scarred as a kid. Now, I will provide my overall thoughts on the episode. Did I think it should be banned?
No. No, no, no.
Yes, the episode had extremely dark and controversial subject matter, but that was only the case so the creators of the show could spread a positive message about the dangers of alcohol. It's not like this episode of Tiny Toons focused on drinking just for fun or to be edgy or something like that. They were very intentional about trying to warn kids not to drink beer, while having some fun to keep them entertained throughout. In my opinion, if an episode dives into normally taboo subject matter in order to spread a positive message, as long as it's not something that children should never be exposed to, like the R word or something, then for the most part, they should be allowed to get away with darker subject matter because it's with a good intention. I personally don't like censorship in general, so unless something really needs to be censored from a show, I honestly would prefer to see what the director's original vision was as opposed to a tampered one. With all of that being said, I understand why one beer was banned, and I can't even necessarily say that it was unjustified or unreasonable, but I think that the episode was just trying to send kids a positive message in a unique way and shouldn't have been banned because of its good intentions. But what do you think? Should one beer have been banned? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed another banned episode review, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a great day.